I'm going to review The Surrender of Miss Fairbourne by Madeline Hunter, and there will be some spoilers. I picked this up because I read Sinful and Satin by Madeline Hunter, and that was the first book I'd read of hers, and so I knew I liked her, and I really, really, really wanted to read more of her. I have to say, though, I was actually really disappointed in this book, and I'll go into why. So this book follows Emma and Darius. Emma Fairbourne is the daughter of, I don't remember her father's name, but he runs an auction house, and they're not as illustrious as Christie's, but they're trying to get there, and they have a decent amount of items on consignment or whatever it is they do. They get a lot of items from people, and fairly good items too, and the father was always really good at properly appraising everything, and he taught Emma all he knew, and he also taught his son, but unfortunately his son he's supposedly dead. He supposedly drowned when a ship went down, but they were still holding out a lot of hope that he would come back. They always thought that he was still alive somehow, and everybody else is like, he's not alive. You're holding out too much hope. It's been 2 years. But they still do. Well, her father dies, and Emma really wants to continue on in the auction house, but she knows that having a woman as the proprietor is not going to work. People are not going to trust her opinion. So she needs to have a frontman, a new frontman, basically, to act as the knowledgeable person and to continue on. Well, the Earl of Southwaite, who is Darius, is an unknown silent partner in the auction house, and he just wants to sell the auction house, be done with it, and Emma doesn't, and so they butt heads about it. But there's this whole other plot about smuggling, and Darius' sort of subplot is he is kind of a, well, I don't know about a spy, but he and some other lords are trying to prevent the smuggling operations that are coming through Kent, I believe, it's in Kent, and she has been getting items to be sold and finds out that she has to sell these items and give the money to this sort of intermediary who will take the money to whoever's holding her brother captive. And she's like, oh my god, my brother's alive. And she even received a letter from her brother, so she realizes, oh my gosh, he's alive, but nobody, and she can't tell anyone. So she has to do this last minute auction, try to get raise so much money, because she needs like 3,000 pounds, and that's a lot after everybody gets their commissions and everything from the auction. And so Darius kind of goes along with it. He doesn't really know exactly what's going on, but he has a suspicion that she might have something to do with some of the smuggling. He doesn't know how involved she is, but you never know. And of course, things happen with the smuggling and with them, but it felt so flat. The characters felt very flat. Any of the sex was very flat. It was very, like, not passionate at all. I mean, it happened, and it wasn't, it wasn't like they glossed over it, but it just felt so boring, and just you didn't feel the chemistry between the two characters, and I feel like there could have been so much more done with them. The way that they go about it, just, oh, I was so disappointed. I thought that they would have so much more chemistry than they did. Surprisingly, I'm actually more interested in the next ones in the series, and I think it's because the way that these two were characterized in here was very boring, but she's introduced a couple of other people who are very interesting, and I would be much more interested to read their story. And I know that I think for the most part, everybody who's been introduced, who's going to be in the next few books, has been introduced already, and I'm very interested in that, in their stories. I hope that it feels a bit more passionate than this one, because this was just super disappointing. Oh my goodness. And because I actually bought this book new. I bought it at Meijer though, so it wasn't. I mean, I was like $5.99 instead of $7.99, so it wasn't full price. But I honestly, even if I got this at a used bookstore, I probably would be really disappointed in it, just because I liked the other book of hers that I read, and that book was an older book, so I thought that her writing would just get better. So maybe it's just because it's the beginning of a series and she was trying to find a way to introduce these other characters, and because these ones are just not interesting at all. I have a feeling you're not really going to need to read this to read the other ones in this series. Sinful and Satin was the third book in a quartet, and I didn't need to read the other ones, the previous two. I want to read those. I'm still trying to find those, but I didn't need them because of the way she explained everything. So I would skip this one. Even I mean, you could read it if you wanted to, but it doesn't do anything for me. It was so disappointing, and I feel really bad that I feel bad that I was disappointed in it, because I really want to like her, and I'm gonna try to read more of her books, and hopefully this is just one that just didn't do it for me. Hey, I've had books from some of my favorite authors. Mary Ballard is my ultimate favorite historical romance author, and there have been a couple of her books that I just didn't care for as much, and that happens sometimes. Some of the pairings or some of the situations you put people in just isn't that interesting, and it just doesn't work. So I'm hoping that's just the situation with this one. It's the first one of a quartet, so I'm hoping that the others are good, and this was just kind of the setup for the other characters. So, yep, that was my review of The Surrender of Miss Fairbourne by Madeline Hunter. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll talk to you later.